Welcome to Sports Bras and Beer. My name is Allie BR. I'll be your host, and today we're talking to Nashville fashion designer Ashlyn Evans. We're going to talk about Western wear, embroidery, tequila, and all sorts of fun things. Let's crack some beers. All right. First question is always, what are you drinking?
Ooh.
This is about beer and stuff.
I actually just took a shot of tequila. And then
nice.
And then I also cracked open a Dr. Robot Blackberry Lemon Sour.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one of my favorite sours.
It's probably one of my favorites as well, but I had to settle. I like the Boulevard Tequila Barrel Lime.
Oh yeah, I remember you do love that one.
It's a seasonal, but it's out right now, but it's not in any stores up here.
So your go-to is usually like sour beers, right? Is that your go-to drink?
Sour beers and tequila.
Right on. That's hardcore. I didn't know you liked tequila so much.
I do like tequila. Did you not know that, really?
No. I guess everyone kind of likes tequila, really, if we're being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I'd prefer to just shoot it, but...
Really? I like it like in a margarita or something.
Yeah.
Or like on the rocks sometimes if it's really good tequila. I can do that.
If I'm going to sip it, I'd prefer to have it just neat, but...
It's hardcore. So what kind of bra are you wearing? And it's okay if you're not wearing a bra, because it's totally acceptable.
I actually have a sports bra on.
Yes!
It wasn't on purpose, but we had to go to the grocery store this morning, so I thought I would be somewhat decent, and I just threw a sports bra on, and I haven't taken it off.
There you go. I feel like I only wear sports bras now.
Yeah.
Like exclusively. Not even on purpose.
I'm a fan of any bra that doesn't have any wire in it for comfort.
I know, I hate wires suck so much.
I hate them so much. Yeah, I feel like they always come out to stab me. I mean, good for support, but damn, not comfortable at all.
No, fuck that shit. So how did you first get into like clothing design and Western wear and stuff? Like how did you start doing that?
So just growing up from when I was teeny tiny, I always said I wanted to make clothes. I never got serious about it until I think it was my junior year in high school. I took a sewing class at school, and I kind of just learned how to use a sewing machine there. And I was also taking a lot of like art classes in high school. So at that point, I was getting kind of confused about what was going to happen when I graduated, because I always thought, yeah, I really want to get into fashion. But then I was like really digging the art classes. I had like a really fucking awesome high school art teacher. He's one of the greatest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like very inspiring still to this day. I don't know. I just like really fucking loved my high school art classes, and I was like supposed to graduate early and everything, and I ended up staying just to take 2 more art classes with him.
Oh, wow. He must have been one hell of a dude.
No, dude, he's so awesome. I miss that man. So from there, I ended up going to art school in my hometown, and they had a really good textile design program, which, you know, similar paths. I ended up going into the textile design concentration. So while I was in college, I was also following around bands like the Avett Brothers and Old Crow Medicine Show, more specifically.
So by following around, what do you mean? Like, just as a fan, you were just sort of like going to different places with them?
Trying to be Penny Lane from fucking Almost Famous.
That's so awesome, dude.
That was what I was doing. Me and one of my best friends, Megan, she lived in Virginia. I was in North Carolina. But we met at an Avett Brothers show and just like hit it off. And we started just going to shows like every weekend. We would drive 5, 10, at one time 15 hours to see these guys play.
Wow.
Yeah. From going to their shows, I started learning a lot more about like traditional country music. I just kind of started, like, I got all my inspiration from going to shows and stuff for my like art school projects. So the two worlds just started kind of colliding. Eventually they did, the art and the music. And in my art school, the first couple of years, you kind of like figure out what you're going to do, like what concentration you're going in. And then once you're there, you take required classes, and then you can also do independent studies. So my junior year, I started those independent studies, and I just brought out my sewing machine again and started looking at these outfits that these old country musicians were wearing and got super into it. And that's how I found Western wear, was from following these bands, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, it makes sense. It started like from music. So after college, were you kind of just like, okay, I'm going to design Western wear now? Or was there kind of more steps to that?
It was my senior year that I think I really was like, this is what I want to do. I want to design Western wear. And immediately after school was when I applied for an internship. Here we go. With a very famous Western wear designer who at the time I was so obsessed with. Like,
Right.
he was my freaking hero. I applied for an internship in Nashville. It was 3 months unpaid. And
Oh, it was unpaid? Oh, I didn't know that.
3 months unpaid is what I was supposed to have, and then I got it. So I graduated December 2016 and ended up moving to Nashville the next March. So 3 months.
Okay, so you moved here just to do the internship, or were you thinking about moving here before?
Well, so I wanted to be in Nashville.
Oh,
It
okay.
so happened that this guy was also in Nashville. I didn't have any plans to move here. I honestly have no idea what I would have done if I didn't get the internship.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Because I had a fine art degree. All the sewing and stuff that I did was pretty much self-taught. Really shitty. Like, looking back on the stuff that I did now, I'm like, good fucking Lord, why? Why did I do this? Why did I show this to people?
You got to learn somehow, though.
Yeah,
and that's
you do.
how you do it.
You do. Yeah, I probably would have gone on to like a fashion design school, since I had like figured out at that point, like, that's the path I want to go down. I was just so into it. Still am, but you know.
Yeah, so we don't have to talk about that person at all if you don't want to.
I don't mind talking about it. It's real life. It's what happened.
Do you think that was like a good experience that you went through ultimately? Like, do you regret doing it, or do you think it just kind of built you as a person? Because I feel like it kind of made you into this business-minded monster all of a sudden. Like, when it was over, you were like, all right, it's Ashlyn Evans now, let's do it. You were just like ready to take over the world. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. Everything that I learned there, like, I don't regret any of it at all. I've always kind of been like that. Like, I don't know. I just don't like to regret things. Like, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
But I learned a lot from it. It's a really weird story because, you know, it was supposed to be a 3-month unpaid internship, but when I got there, I got hired as his full-time assistant designer 2 weeks in.
Oh, wow. Like, so, pretty much right away.
Yeah. And it was really cool. Like, I felt really good about myself because apparently that was unheard of. And just the people that I was working with, and just from other people who know or have worked with this person, like, it apparently was just really unheard of for him to do that.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't really hire people in general, you know. So at the time, I was feeling really good.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You probably felt like a rock star.
I did. I met some cool rock stars while I was there, too.
Hell yeah.
I worked there for a whole year. And then throughout that year, things were just really... as a woman, things are very toxic for me. Verbally, somewhat physically.
Really?
Nothing super dramatic, but inappropriate.
Okay. Just enough to make a person uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, definitely nothing, like, stupid. But, yes, enough to make you uncomfortable. And I kind of just put up with it at first. You know, I'm sitting here. It's my first time away from home. I'm working with my freaking hero, for crying out loud. Like, whatever. But then it, like, started getting old. And I started standing up for myself.
Well, fuck yeah.
And that became a problem. It just got toxic. So it's over now. And I've been on my own for 2 years. First client ever was my favorite woman musician, Margot Price.
Oh, that was your first, like, independent client right off the bat?
Yep, Margot was my first independent client.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's all gone downhill. No, I'm just kidding.
How did that happen? Like, did you know somebody that knew somebody, or was it like, where did that come from?
Her stylist at the time reached out to me on Instagram Just a week later, just a week after leaving my job before that, on Instagram. I love Instagram. Instagram has brought me so many clients.
Oh, yeah. So what was your first project with Margot? What were you supposed to do?
Well, I didn't actually sew the suit, but I embroidered it and rhinestoned it for her. So I had to go, well, I mean, it was still, when I do that, it's still a lot. Like I have to completely unsew it and then sew it back together. But the funny thing about that I can now admit is that I had never used my embroidery machine.
Really? So that was your first time? You were just like winging it?
And Tyler, who is my boyfriend, one of the good things I got out of that previous job, he was like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. And me being who I am, I was like, nope, gonna do it. We're gonna wing it. It's gonna be great. And it was really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel like I could, the execution could be better now that I've been doing it for 2 years. But
I feel like embroidery kind of just became your thing after that. Like now that's kind of like you do lots of things, but embroidery is like something you do all the time, it seems like to me.
Well, every day. And that,
every day.
Fun fact, that suit was on a billboard. You couldn't see a whole lot of it, but it was on a billboard.
That's right. I remember. Was it in Nashville?
Yeah.
It was like on Broadway or West End or whatever.
It was on Church Street going into downtown.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's badass.
It's pretty cool. Definitely a fun day for me.
Do you think you'll do more projects for her in the future, or was that just kind of a random Instagram thing?
I do. She got pregnant. We were talking about doing different things, and she got pregnant, and she's had her baby it hasn't been, well, I don't know how long it's been now, but we've talked. Okay. Things will definitely happen. It's cool because now I can, just, hey, Margot, how you doing? If I wanted to. 5 years ago, when I first discovered who Margot was, following Old Crow, I never would have thought I'd be able to say that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Margot actually called me after she got this suit. I think it was after she got it and wore it a couple of times. And she called me to thank me personally and was just like super excited and told me that it was going to be a staple in her wardrobe for the rest of her life. And
wow, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, and it was just really random. I think I was getting in my car to go to bartend when that happened. So I don't think I ever answered the question before that.
Oh, what was the question before that?
I forgot because I think I started going on a rant about something else.
No, you're okay. It was just about, let's see.
Oh, if it was if I think that job was.
Yeah, if you think that like benefited you or changed you or impacted you in a creative way, which I think it did, but I don't know. What do you think?
I know it definitely did. And like right after it happened, I mean, it was all a very emotional experience. But, a week later, I got that message from Margot's stylist. So that was definitely very uplifting. And then from that, I kept continuously getting clients, and the more that I put out there, obviously the more people who would call to inquire about things. So that was definitely a good thing about it. But there was also, I got really depressed for a while. I mean, I guess there was more going on in my life at the time. Like it wasn't just that. Like I had also, I guess I had been in Nashville for a year, but I'm really hard on myself.
You are. That's one thing I've noticed about you. You are so hard on yourself.
I'm very, very hard on myself. And that's definitely one of my downfalls. But hey, man, I went to therapy for the first time. Shout out to my therapist because that worked.
Yeah, but I feel like, even though you were depressed and it was like a shitty situation, I think it kind of motivated you to become your own designer. And you were like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm going to work with all these country people and all these rock stars now, like whatever.
Yeah.
You just, like, it sucks. And it, I get why you're depressed, but I think ultimately, it was for the better,
It definitely was.
Do you think if that stuff wouldn't have happened, would you have just continued to work for him? Or eventually did you want to become your own designer? Was that kind of the ultimate goal?
Yes, that was definitely, even when I started there, the ultimate goal. Being that I kind of found Western wear on my own and didn't back home, I wasn't around anybody that liked that kind of thing or listened to that kind of music really. It was just me doing my own research and going and learning from somebody who has done this for so many years and has dressed anybody who is everybody. Even those 3 months, I know, if it would have just been the 3 months, I know I would have learned a lot and taken a lot from it. Yes, I do think that even if all those things didn't happen, I do think I would have, yes. I feel like
Awesome.
I definitely am more in the creative idea side of things versus the just sit down and sew and tailor and embroider, the technical skill.
Yeah.
That's the process that I enjoy.
So you mentioned Instagram has been a really good tool for you as a designer. Yeah. Is that kind of the majority of where your clients come from, or do you get it from word of mouth and stuff too?
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of word of mouth clients as well, but I don't know. I do feel like Instagram has been so far the most beneficial.
Cool. So you've been doing this on your own now for what, 2 years?
2 years.
Out of those 2 years of you being independent, what's the most unique thing that you've designed so far?
The most unique.
Or just out of the ordinary, when you're done with it, you're like, oh, that was kind of weird. Or not in a bad way or in a bad, either way, something that was different. Or cool.
I feel like what I do, especially from other people's perspectives, I feel like it's all pretty out there just because it's pretty loud with the colors and the imagery on the embroidery and the rhinestones. That's not something that I guess a normal person would wear every day. Yes, mostly musicians and entertainers, but also for the person who wants to wear that shit to Target, who wants the people at Target to turn around and be like, what the fuck are you wearing?
Hell yeah.
That person. So I don't want to put the wrong idea out there in the universe. It's not just for entertainers.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. Margot's suit had pot leaves.
Oh, cool. I don't remember the pot.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. With Margot's suit, they weren't all in your face. It was kind of you had to look really hard to see. But once you saw it, it was oh shit, those are pot leaves.
Did she tell you exactly what she wanted, or did you kind of have some creative freedom in
With
that?
Margot's suit, I had full creative freedom over it.
Oh,
it was your first client, literally you would never think you get all the best things in your first client, but
yeah, that's so exciting.
Because that's not always the case. A lot of the times I get people who are very specific with what they want, and that's good. Sometimes that makes it easier, but also it can also make it harder from a design perspective. I might not think that your idea is the best idea. Or, it's okay to have a general idea. It's okay to know exactly what you want. I'm not saying don't, but...
Right. I think I get what you're saying. If a client has something in their head that doesn't necessarily make sense to you as a designer, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, compositionally, it may not be the best idea, or even with the construction of the suit. That's another thing you have to take into account, where things are going to be placed. For the most part, you could make it work, but from a construction standpoint.
Right, I guess from the technical side, it's kind of hard to be okay, well,
that might not work.
If I can. Yeah, but some people that's hard to explain to because they're
yeah,
but that's what I want.
I feel for the most part, I haven't had any customers that are too difficult. If you're going to pay that much for a suit, if you're going to get an investment piece, make it your own. Yeah. We don't need to copy what's already been created. It's really cool, but hey, take that, print it out, put it on your wall.
Yeah, or use it as a reference. I feel like you could just bank off the idea and make something more personal or more related to what they want or who they are.
Right. So we can use inspiration from each other. In Western wear, you definitely see that. I don't know. We like all the Western wear designers that are currently there. There's not that many, but the handful that are there, I feel like we all draw inspiration from each other. We definitely all draw inspiration from the handful that were there before us. So, but
Yeah.
I don't like to copy, and it's hard because people, I feel like they see these suits and they're just get really stuck on the idea that like that's the suit.
Right, which I get, but like as an artist, I feel like it's cooler to have something that's for you, that's like custom made for you, that's an idea that you had. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's way cooler than having something that someone already had.
Right. And I feel like that's part of the experience in a especially like a suit. I mean it could be with a Western shirt or a pair of pants, but like especially a tailored jacket and matching pant, like I feel like it should be true to you. It should tell your story or whatever story you wanted to tell. But
Yeah, I agree because I feel like that in a way kind of identifies you.
yeah,
You know, like people are going to recognize you by what you're
I just feel
wearing.
like that's what it is anyway.
Right. So, like before I met you, I'd never really heard of the term Western wear, or I guess I never really like thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just kind of drawn in with country music, right? It kind of just goes all the way back to like the beginning of country. Is that accurate?
So, I mean, even before country music was a thing, like talking about like the real Wild West and real cowboys, there's that category of Western wear. But then you had designers come in like Nathan Turk and then like Nudie Khan. These guys were taking like Western garments and then adding embroidery and then adding rhinestones and then putting these performers of country music, and then later like not even just country music, like a lot of rock and rollers wore Western wear. Jerry Garcia and like Mick Jagger, those are obviously two very big household names. Like those guys wore Western wear. But yeah, I mean, I guess country music, I feel like, is probably where it was its biggest. And if you look back on country music, you will definitely see everybody who was anybody in a Western suit.
Yeah, I feel like everybody had a suit. Like every sort of country guy or girl had like some suit jacket thing that they were wearing that was like their signature thing.
Yeah, they definitely did. And, there were little guys out there like me right now doing it, and that's something that I gotta like keep telling myself right now. Like I'm not the biggest name in Western wear right now, but like that's I guess that's what I'm striving to be. I'm not even just trying to be the biggest name, but ultimately the goal is to dress, I guess, really my favorite musicians, and then once I get them, I'll go for bigger.
There you
Superstars.
Yeah. But I feel like Western wear, I don't know, it just seems like such a very like niche category of clothing design. So I feel like that in a way kind of puts you in a different tier. Like it puts you ahead because you're like something very unique and specific. Like, yeah, you can do lots of other things. You can design lots of clothes, but that's like your deal is Western wear.
Yeah. No, and it definitely is, I feel like, kind of in its own category. And I also feel like it's very, like, in trend right now. And I've had people ask me, like, if I think it's going to, like, die again. Because, fashion, it cycles. Yeah. And I feel like there's so many people nowadays that are just like, fuck it, do your own thing. Like, I'm not really sure. I don't think it will ever completely, like, die. I feel like even though it is kind of strange and kind of out there, I feel like it's always just going to be that thing that lets you tell your own story. Like somebody's always going to want it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you feel pressure as like being a fashion designer or a clothing designer? Do you feel like you need to dress really well all the time, or do you just like you're like fuck it?
It's so funny that you say that. I definitely don't dress great all the time. Right now, I'm most comfortable in like jeans and a fucking band t-shirt. And I always get mad at myself though, because as a designer, I do feel like I need to be constantly wearing things that I've made to show what I can do. I mean, that's free advertising. Like we said, go into Target and I could be wearing, even if it was just like a shirt that I made and somebody could ask me about it,
Yeah.
I feel like I get mad at myself a lot about that. But like, then I also feel like I right now just do not have all the time in the world to just make my own things constantly. And I've gained a lot of weight too. So like, I mean, that's just a whole nother part of that question. but yeah. So
No, I get that because I feel like to me, I don't care what you wear. Like, I don't know.
right.
It's all about what you make. But I know that some people are weird about that kind of shit. Who would your dream client be?
I have quite a list.
Who's like your number one? Like if you could pick any person, one person in the world,
dead or alive, or alive right now?
alive.
Okay,
alive for sure.
Right now, probably Tyler Childers.
Okay, cool.
Who did you think it was?
I thought you were gonna say Miranda Lambert.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, just because I feel like I don't know. Maybe this is just my opinion, but I don't really listen to country music. But I feel like I enjoy her music. I feel like she's just kind of this really badass human.
She is. No, she definitely is. And Miranda Lambert is definitely on my list. But I got here because of the musicians that I've been inspired by. So Tyler Childers, I've just been obsessed with him for a while now. And his music, I just love it. And it always makes me happy. And he's just who I want to dress next. Him and Sturgill Simpson. Sturgill Simpson's up there too. But like also Brandi Carlile.
Ooh, fuck yeah, I like her. This hasn't been like an official question, but so far everyone has just thrown in their favorite quote or a quote that they were thinking of at the moment. Do you have any like quotes that you dig right now?
Shit. Ooh. I have had a song stuck in my head. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
You know, we're going through this coronavirus bullshit. And so far, the coronavirus has taken away two musicians who I'm very fond of.
John Prine and
Joe Diffie. And John Prine. Man, I mean, I cried when I heard about both of them, but John Prine, I don't know. There was something that was just so emotional about it. I guess because he recently, I feel like, has had his like biggest moment in his career, and he's been so loved around Nashville. And
yeah, he was kind of like really relevant right now for some reason. Like, very recently relevant. I noticed that too.
Yeah. As soon as I heard it on his most recent album, he had a song called When I Get to Heaven.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's just one that's stuck in my head a lot. And I guess that song has been pretty relevant just within the past couple days. I've been listening to it a lot. So,
I thought of a question. So, what do you think your ultimate goal for designing would be? Like, do you plan on just being kind of a custom designer for people and they'll come to you and then, you create what they want? Or do you think you'll like have a shop or something and people can kind of just come in and you'll get clients that way?
Oh, no, dude. I want to have a shop. And I've always pictured it. It's okay if it doesn't work out this way, but I've always pictured it as like this 2-story thing where like the retail part is on the bottom and my studio space is on top. I don't know why.
Sweet.
I've just always pictured it that way. But like,
it's convenient.
When people walk in, I just want it to be like the coolest place you've ever walked into. And I want you to like walk in and I want your jaw to drop and I just want you to never forget that experience. Like,
oh, damn.
Yeah. That's the goal.
I mean, that's definitely like an approachable goal.
Yeah. I honestly have never thought too hard about having multiple locations. I would definitely be okay with it, assuming, I had people that I'd trust to give people that experience in that store. But I think, I would really genuinely be happy with one place that was just really fucking cool when you walked in. And obviously the work has to speak for itself.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and I saw, so you were doing, after the tornado in Nashville, you were doing embroidered bandanas and donating the proceeds to a tornado relief fund. Is that correct?
Yeah. Tyler and I had bought just bulk 100% cotton, made in USA bandanas for an event that we had, a chain stitching event that we did back in December, and we just had a bunch of them left over.
Oh, cool.
So they were just sitting around the house, and I thought it would be a good time to help out Nashville and donate some money. So I offered them for $20. They would get the bandana with your name or a small phrase chain stitched onto them. And then we donated all of that money to, it was the Middle Tennessee Relief Fund, something like that. It was for the tornado victims, but we raised,
Yeah.
it ended up being, I think it was around $750.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. That's
Yeah.
great, dude. That's
Got
awesome.
rid of all of them, so that was nice. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then now we're making masks.
I saw that. Shannon wants a mask.
Yeah. I'll make you guys a mask.
Sweet.
We weren't selling, I don't want to sell them.
You're just going to donate them? Give them
Yeah,
away?
like, it's okay to sell them. I feel like that's fine. Like, you gotta pay
Yeah.
for your stuff, but, like, we've been making them out of stuff, like, just scrap fabric that we've had around the house, and I had some elastic. We used the remaining of it, and now you can't buy elastic anywhere. Yeah,
Really?
just
Because everyone's trying to make their own
yep,
masks?
everyone's buying up the elastic, and so there's other ways to do it. They're just more time consuming. I made a post about, if anybody needed it, we're not selling them, but if you really need one, then, shoot me a message. And I had a lot more interest than I thought I would. So
Yeah, I saw that post. Bunch of people jumped on that shit.
yeah, it's definitely more than I thought. But that's fine. I want to help out when I can.
Yeah, you're such a good person.
Thanks. As long as you pay for shipping, I'll make it for you.
There you go. That's not too much to ask for. What's the weirdest thing that you've ever embroidered on something? Like, is there like a weird phrase? Like, has someone ever asked you to like embroider penis or something?
No.
Anything
I
like
haven't
that?
had anything like that yet. I feel like it could definitely come out sometime, but
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. I feel like people are so immature. Myself.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't ballsy. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
A lot of the times I feel like, especially with like marijuana leaves, a lot of people are very, oh, well, the marijuana leaf has to be subtle because so-and-so's, my grandma's going to see it, or this suit's going to be at a wedding where my family's going to be. Like, God forbid they see the marijuana leaf.
Right. Which, for me, that stuff doesn't really matter. I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And if you have a problem with it, sorry. Right. But I know that some people don't feel that way.
Right. And, again, to each his own. It's all good. But, yeah, you would definitely make a good client, Allie. Oh, you've been a client before.
I have been, yeah. For those that don't know, Ashlyn designed my wedding dress. I'll put a picture of it on the YouTube video so everyone can see it.
I did. I'm not a huge dressmaker, but I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really pretty.
It was fucking awesome.
I love the fabric I chose for that. Not to gloat, but like that lace was gorgeous.
And it's also not like your typical wedding dress.
Right.
It was like a very punk rock.
Red and black lace.
Yeah. Very not.
It was really badass.
Typical. Yeah. Thank you for making
that. Of course. Oh, I thought of a quote.
What's the
like
quote?
An actual quote.
Okay, not a song.
Not a song, an actual quote.
What you got?
The fans deserve you dressing up for them, by Porter Wagner.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
A lot of country musicians nowadays, like, I feel like a lot of them just want to wear jeans and a flannel, which is cool. I'm comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt, like I said before, but I also feel like when you're on stage, like, why not take it to the next level visually? Like, people are all there. Right. They're all yes, they're there to listen to you, but they're also looking at you, so why not step it up?
Right. And there is something special about, going to see your favorite band and they're wearing something that was custom made for them that you've never seen before. It's like you can't just go and buy
Yeah.
that off a rack somewhere. Like someone took time to design that and make that specifically for
Yeah.
them. Like that's always been really cool for me to see
Mhm.
musicians have something that's like, where the hell can I find that? Like I want something like that,
Yeah.
I think that makes it cooler for the
Yeah.
fans is when you dress up a little
I
bit.
agree. I think a good example, especially relevant, is Post Malone.
Oh, okay.
Obviously very relevant and, with the times. And a lot of people, really enjoy Post Malone. And his stylist, I think I'm saying this right, Kathy Hahn. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, Kathy. But she does a really good job of working with different designers from, like, I guess who, run their small businesses. I haven't been one of them yet, but, like, I would like to be. I feel like he's in, like, a custom outfit every night. And
yeah, you're right. He does have a really interesting sense of fashion. I never thought of that.
Yeah, if you go and look through all his outfits, like, it's really cool to see, like, all his different outfits. Like, he's not in the same pair of jeans and a flannel every night.
Right, especially him being like I guess maybe hip hop or whatever
Yeah.
you would pop
Right.
artist. Like that's very different style for someone like
Yeah. But, like, I also know, like, custom outfits aren't cheap. And I know that a lot of musicians also, like, trying to make it, like, they probably can't always afford custom outfits, especially not like Post Malone, a new one for every night. Like,
Right.
I understand that as well. But, I definitely think that there are probably independent designers like myself and, other people who are trying to make it, who just like you too, like you as a musician, you're trying to make it, like, work together, collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope did that come off right? I don't want that to come out wrong.
No, I think you got it.
like I understand that, like, not everybody can just, like, buy a custom outfit.
Right, like not everyone can go buy like 7 new guitars, but you
Right.
like at some point you can, and at some point you will have the money and you're like, okay, what do I want to look like on stage? And I think to me, that's a really important thing, is like looking cool on
Mhm.
stage. As a rock star, I think appearance kind of does matter when you're performing.
Yeah.
And I think when you have the money for it and the time for it, it's a really good investment to your future.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can't afford it, man, DIY that shit. Like,
Or just take out a loan.
or just do that, Don't come to me for financial
Sell
advice.
some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my friend, I think that is all I have for you officially.
Cool.
Thanks for joining me.
It was fun. I'm sorry I talk a lot.
No, that's great. I love that. Talk a bunch.
Here we go now. I just wanna get a little angry. I just wanna do things to you.